All right, here's the first thing. When you have exponential growth or decay, what it basically is this. You're either increasing or decreasing something by a certain percent. Okay, so the first thing is to kind of give you a problem here. All right, nothing's on your paper. You have 20 rabbits. Okay, so 20 would go in for the A. The rabbits increase, okay, in populace by 10% each year. So the 10% would go in for the R. Now here's the thing, would you write down 10%? Yeah, sorry, you put down a decimal, 0.10 is right. Okay, how many rabbits will you have after 6 years? So where are you going to put the 6? In for the T. In for the T is exactly right. Okay, so everyone understand how this works? Couldn't be easier. These are easy problems. Everybody here's word problems they freak. These are easy. Okay. Oops. Sorry, let's go backwards. Okay. And so what you're going to see is this. Okay, here's the A, the initial amount. Here's the R, the percent that's increasing or decreasing. And then here's the T, right? The amount of time it takes to do this. I think. There it goes. Okay, here we go. All right, on to the first problem. Oh, here we go. On to the first problem. Here's example 1A. All right, now example 1A says this. Okay. In 1996, there were 2,573 computer viruses. Okay, so where are you going to put 2573? In for A. Okay, here we go. That's what you're going to see on the board. It goes in for A. Okay. And other computer incidents. Okay, during the next 7 years, the number of incidents increased by 92% each year. So why do you put it for R? Are you going to add it or subtract it? You're going to add it, right. So you're going to add 0.92 in for the R, right? There you go, 0.92. Okay, now look at the question it says. Write an exponential growth model. Okay, so what are you going to write down? 2573 parentheses 1 plus 0.92, and then the model is what they want, where you will put down a T. So this is the model, right? They're not, okay, that's what's confusing for students. The model means write the equation with a T there. Okay, now they're going to ask you the next question, which is this. About how many incidents were there in 2003? So how many years passed by from 1996 to 2003? 7. Okay, so you're going to put a 7 in for the T, and that's what you're going to see here. Here's a 7 I'm putting in for the T. So now go stick it in the calculator and punch out the answer, okay? Go stick that in the calculator and go punch out the answer. $47484. Okay, and that's what you're going to see here. Oh, sorry about that. Wait, let's go back. One more time. There you go. All right, there's the answer. Right? 247,484 is the number of incidents. Okay, easy as going to be. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this. Click. Okay, all right, so the x-axis is going to represent time. Okay, so how much is each square going to represent? 1 year is correct, okay? So everybody go there and put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 14. Okay, each square represents 1 year. And that's normally easy to do. Okay, it's the y-axis that makes it so tough to do this. Okay, now what's the y-axis going to represent? The number of incidents, right? Okay. Now let me ask you something here. Okay, the number of incidents, right? Okay, the least number you can have is 0, right? The greatest amount that would be smart to graph would be what?
250,000.
Okay, 250. How'd you get 250,000?
Because this one is 247,000.
It's a smart thing to say. You're right. Okay. Okay, 250,000. All right, so now look, here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do, okay? What you're going to do is 2060. All right, everybody understand this? Okay, all right, so here's what you're going to see now up here on the graph. Here comes my time 1, 2, 3. And all I did is label 3 of the squares so that they know, hey, let me tell Mr. Sweaty what each square represents. 1, 2, 3. You can go all the way to 14. That's great. Now, the y-axis, right? 20,000 for one of those, right? Is what we figured. And the thing is, you don't have to label every single square.
Oh, you just.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to label every single one because it really clogs up things, right? So what I did is every fifth square I labeled it, right? So 5 times 20,000 makes it 100,000. Then do the next 5, okay, which would make the number square 10 or 200,000. And do the next 5. The next square, the 15th square would be 300,000, right? Go do that. Okay, so you're going to go to your window on your calculator and change your window. Now, let's talk about this. The x min should be what?
0.
Well, 0 is fine, but you want to see the x-axis, so why don't you make it -1? Make it -1. Okay, now the x max should be what? 14. 14 makes tons of sense because there are 14 squares. Okay, let's talk about the y-axis. The y min should be what? -1. 1 less than 0, make it -1. And the y max should be what? Okay, all right, 250,000 is great, or you can make it 300,000 if you want to. You decide. Okay, now go get graph and see what happens.
It's still a straight line.
No. We didn't change anything.
It's still a straight line.
Should be curved line. Should be.
And then we're going to make table is all the same number.
See, that's why you don't have to grab every single point. You grab the kind of the gaps. Let's go to here, now let's go to here. And you got, now can you draw the line and show what the graph looks like? So now go connect the points together and boom, baby, it's going to be purple. Let's show the line. Here she comes. Here she comes. There she be. There's the arrow at the end. There you go. Okay. All right, everybody good? So it should look something like. Okay, so all right. So what's your A value? 4,200, right? Okay. Okay. Now 1 minus, right? It's decreasing. How much? 0.1 or 0.10, right? 0.1 or 0.10. I put 0.10 in there. And then what's your t going to be? T, because you're doing the model. What's the model? That's the answer. That's the model, right? Okay, now they ask this. Okay, estimate the value after 3 years. So what are you going to do? Put 3 in for the t, right? Put 3 in for the t, and that's what you're going to see up here. And you're putting 3 in for t, and then figure out what's it going to equal. See if you get what I get on the board.
Right.
All right, so let's go to part B. All right, so the first thing you do is type into y equals. Okay, all right, now let me ask you this. Each square on the x-axis represents what?
A year.
A year. So we go label the x-axis, right? That's the number of years. We'll do 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever you got, right? That you would have for the y.
31.
4,200, exactly, the price you bought it at. Okay, 4,200. Okay, what's the minimum y value you're going to have?
0.
0, but actually put -1 so you can see the x-axis. Okay, so go type in the equation. The x min is -1, the x max is 14. The y min is -1, that's what we just talked about, and the y max is 4,200. Okay, and then go press graph, and it should graph. Okay, now here goes the next thing. Okay, you're going to put 4,200 in the calculator divided by 14. How much will each square on the y represent? 300. Okay, so you're going to see that show up on the graph now. You're going to see 300. And I went by 4 squares is what I did. Every 4 I labeled, okay? There you go, like that. So you get the whole thing on the graph. I'll stop.